So for this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to rank inside LLMs. I'm going to be showing you guys a variety of different ways to rank in LLMs and basically everything you need to know from a link building point of view, everything that you need to know from a content point of view, and also which content and which articles and which pages you actually need to publish on your website. One thing about this video is it is pre-recorded, so I recorded this maybe about 5 or 6 days ago for a course, but I'm giving it away to you guys completely for free. So it's probably going to be about 30 minutes from start to finish. The sheet that I am talking about, I will have a link to that sheet down in the description as well. So if you guys want to access that sheet, you guys can do. So anyway, without any further ado, let's get into the LLM/GEO/AI SEO course. Also, if you guys haven't already, I cannot stress this enough. Make certain to download myseo.app. It's the place to be for SEOs if you want to learn how to rank inside organic SEO, if you want to rank inside ChatGPT. We've got live streams in there every single week. We've got a community section. So if you're ever struggling, it's the place to be. Download it. Hi guys, welcome to my session, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to rank in AI overviews, LLMs, GEO, whatever you want to call it. I feel like every weekend we have a new name for it, whether it's AI overviews, whether it's GEO, whether it's LLM SEO, or if you just want to call it SEO. That's what I'm going to be talking about. Unfortunately, this session is pre-recorded, this one here. I have a flight on the day that this would be going live, so I'm traveling from like the UK to Vietnam because it's just too cold in the UK. I'm going to do a month in Vietnam. But if you guys do have any questions, if you want to reach out to me, if you need any help after the live stream, by all means, feel free to either contact me on Facebook or on LinkedIn as well. I'm fairly active on Facebook. So yeah, let's get started. So first of all, what I want you guys to do is scan this QR code. It's going to take you to a page where I'm going to be giving away a complete free GEO checklist of things to do. It comes with a lot of different prompts as well, but it's going to make your life a lot easier. So I'm going to put this up on the screen for like another 5 more seconds, and then we'll basically get started. But this worksheet is basically what I'm going to be working through today. It's going to get you higher rankings in AI. It's going to also help you with how to write your content, how to structure it, and also what links you need to also be focusing on as well. So when it comes to AI overviews, you kind of need to have an approach where you're trying to be cited across multiple different domains. Your content also needs to be good, and you also need to be omnipresent as an actual brand. So let's get started. Right, once you have scanned that QR code, it will take you to this page. What I'm going to do is I'm going to enter my name and my email, and I am going to get a sheet sent to my email. As you can see here, we've got our worksheet, and basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on File and then make a copy for myself. I can name this whatever I want. I'm just going to keep it the same. I've named it LLM/GEO/AI SEO checklist because apparently no one can agree on the name nowadays. Now, there are a lot of different tabs in this sheet. I'm not going to go through every single one of them, mainly because it would take me like hours on end to go through all of them. But what I am going to go through is a few of the core sections that you guys need to know about when it comes to ranking in AI overviews. So this here is the LLM SEO assets list. Now, I do actually have a separate video on this, so if you want to watch that after this this live stream, you can do. But these are basically assets that you can either own yourself, you can either rent, or you can actually do like digital PR with as well. Like for example, here, I was able to rank myself and a few friends for Best SEO Experts in 2026. As you can see, I am number 1. James Dooley, which is a business partner of mine, is number 2. We've got Gareth Hoyle, we've got Alida Solis, and we've got a few others as well. Just to show you guys that it's not a fluke, this is in incognito, so Best SEO Experts 2026, and as you can see, Kasra-.com, or Kasra- and James Dooley, etc. Now, a few things when it comes to LLM SEO rankings, or AI, and especially in AI overviews. This does change from hour to hour, which is the slight annoying part when it comes to being like a CEO or a founder. You obviously want consistent results as a business owner. Now, currently, as of recording this video, I'm recording this on the 15th of February, the rankings of these do change hour by hour. There's been a lot of different studies. The only thing that we can do as SEOs is have a prominence or a very prominent score to actually show up in these. At that point, you might not show up every single hour when somebody searches this, but let's say out of the 24 hours in the day, you might be able to show up for 15 out of those 24 hours, which is still good enough. So just do bear that in mind when you are trying to get AI overviews. It's not like SEO rankings where you can obviously throw up an article, you can build some links to it, and you end up ranking within a couple months, for example, and you stay ranking. AI overviews, there's a lot more fluctuations. So now that we know that, how did I actually achieve that ranking? So there's what's called like assets on your own website. So for example, if I load up this page here, I was able to create like a listicle on my own website, and it ranks very well. I know that with listicles, there's kind of like a nuance where some people think you should do it, some people think you shouldn't do it. I like to do it, and I'll give you the example why. For example, I run a SEO conference, right? And I've attended multiple SEO conferences. So if I was to write an article on the best SEO conferences that I've attended, right? That's based off of my experience. I've actually paid money for buying tickets to all of these different conferences that I've attended, and I've collated a list. There's no one really as a better expert to do that. Where it does get a little bit sticky, or where it does get a little bit weird, is when people just do a blatant listicle, and all they're doing is just listing themselves as being like position number 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where Google doesn't like it. You want to give people the decision, right? Where you can also post other listicles is like, for example, LinkedIn Pulse. This is completely free to do. Like, I'll show you guys how to do it. But again, you can basically get mentioned on here. And again, not many people actually do this, but you can actually click on write an article, and you can actually create an article on LinkedIn. This is basically what's called like a parasite SEO, or if you're just publishing good content, you can also publish it on LinkedIn as well. Now, a commonly asked question I do get is if I have an article on the best SEO experts on my own website, and I create another article on LinkedIn or Medium, for example, can I get penalized? No is the answer. Like, we've tested this time and time again across 300 different websites, and the only time where you may be getting penalized is if you're literally copying all of this content word for word exactly to LinkedIn, and the asset that does actually end up being penalized is the LinkedIn article. Your website doesn't actually get penalized, especially if your website is the first one to publish that article. So just bear that in mind. If you're publishing articles on your website and you're trying to distribute them into multiple different locations, publish it first to your website and then publish it to assets like LinkedIn Pulse, Medium, doing a press release, etc. Now, you can also do the exact same thing as a LinkedIn Pulse article, but on Twitter. So I done an article recently on what you should be focused on when it comes to AI overviews. And this was actually an article, and basically these articles do end up actually ranking and also indexing and also feeding the LLMs. That's the main thing that we care about. We want to feed the LLMs as much information about our company, about our brand, about the services that we actually offer. So as you can see here, this is basically what it looks like, and how you actually get that is you can click on post. So where you actually need to go is you click on articles on the left hand side. They have actually moved it. Previously you could click on post and there was an article section button here. They might be changing the UIs because X is always changing, so just bear that in mind. If they have moved it from articles to the post button, just check that out. Currently, as of recording this video, it's on the left hand side, articles, I also do believe you need to be paying like the £5 or £10 a month package for like the blue tick. So I think it's probably about $15 to $20 a month to get that. But these articles actually rank very well. You can obviously upload like a header image, you can add in a H1, you can add in any content as well. Again, a lot of these are not completely free, but on the cheaper end, so you don't need to be forking out hundreds of thousands every single month for these. Next, you obviously have got like Medium articles. Again, a lot of these articles, or a lot of these places that you can actually publish to, they are most of the time they are free. I think out of all of the ones that I've mentioned just now, the only one that you need to pay for would be X articles. But for example, LinkedIn, Medium, and also your own website, they're all free assets. They're all owned by you. So those are the assets that are owned by you. You can also publish on YouTube as well, because YouTube videos, the transcription of the videos does get picked up by LLMs. So for example, if I was to upload this video to YouTube, YouTube can read and understand what I'm saying. So you can obviously take advantage of that as well. You can also do podcast appearances as well. So for example, again, uploading a podcast to Spotify or YouTube, the transcription does get picked up by Gemini and the AI LLM models as well. Next, you've got rented assets. Now, for example, if I was to go to Elder and I was to say, hey, can you write me an article on the best SEO conferences and stick my conference as being number one, he would obviously do that, and I could basically help him out for his local SEO tool, right? So these are basically like rented assets. So we can basically go to other SEOs that want to be picked up for like best SEOs, and we can get an article on their website as well. So it's kind of like a reciprocal link. It's kind of like a reciprocal mention. I'll mention you on my website, you mention me on yours. Next, you can also do PR. Now, this is a free PR website, so I believe you guys get like one press release per 30 days. Yeah, one free press release per 30 days on this website. And basically, this website ranks very well. So best SEO experts to follow. And as you can see, we've got the actual article here. The formatting is a little bit weird, but it does actually end up ranking pretty well. And we've got another article on EIN. These guys you do need to pay for. But again, what LLMs are looking out for is repetition. So if they are uncertain about something, it's very unlikely that you will be getting cited. However, if there's 15 different articles all mention the similar things, like let's say they all mention that your business has been in business for 35 years, it will understand that XYZ Plumbers has got 35 years experience. So just remember that you want to feed the LLMs as much information. I'm going to be continuously saying that because I think that it's one of the most important things to feed the LLMs as much information, whether it's about yourself, maybe you're doing it for your person, or about your business and your services that you actually offer as well. So everything that I've just shown you now is pretty decent. Like a lot of this would rank for like medium to easy keywords, whereas if you're trying to show up for personal injury lawyer, or like the best personal injury lawyers in Dallas, Houston, right, you're going to need something a little bit more of a kick, let's call it that. And I present to you the mention scorer. So this is literally called the mention scorer in the actual Google Sheets, the tab that I've got. Now, basically what this does, and I'll show you guys exactly how to use it. It's a little bit more of a time-consuming way, but again, it's free to use and it's going to save you so much money. This will basically rate all of the links or all of the citations on Google AI, Perplexity, ChatGPT, and also Claude. It will give you a score and it will give you a total points as well. So this is like a point system based off of which websites that we actually need to get mentioned on. Right, so I've literally been saying this for like the past maybe 12 months, and I think that if you are in the business of acquiring backlinks, now has become the time where you should not be wasting endless money or endless budget on building links, because AI has just given us the entire blueprint as to which backlinks that we should be focusing on and which backlinks we should actually be getting mentioned on, and also which backlinks we should probably ignore, right? So, for example, right, all I've done is I've searched for best VPN providers on Google. You can do this for any keyword. This was just a random keyword that came to mind. I've done the exact same thing on ChatGPT and also Perplexity and also Claude as well, right? When you are doing it on Claude, just be cautious, because in some cases, what we're looking out for is like the citations. So if it's not giving you the citations, just copy the keyword and then just change the model to Haiku 4.5 and then paste it in. But what all of these LLMs do, whether it's AI overviews, is it actually gives you where it's picking up the information from. So like thebestvpn.com, ProPrivacy, PCMag. Even if we go to like ChatGPT, and if we click on sources here, and if I move my face out the way, you'll see that you've got all of these mentions. So whether it's like Reddit, whether it's Tech Radar, every single one of these, right? Same goes with Perplexity. If you click on sources, you'll see on the right hand side all of these different sources will accept cookies. And then with Claude as well. So once you actually have all of the sources, right, what we're going to do is we're just going to delete everything in this sheet just from our source to Claude column. And we're going to set this up. So we're going to do Google. And what I recommend for this is if you have a Chrome extension called Link Clump, this will make your life a lot easier. Just make certain that if you are using it, you've got it set to URLs only. And we're going to click save. This basically allows me to press down on the letter Z on my keyboard, and I can click and drag, and it's going to copy any of the URLs. So for example, if I just click and drag these, it's going to allow me to paste these into my Google Sheet. As you can see here, I've just pasted into my Google Sheet. I'm going to do this for all of the actual sources here, so I'll be back in just a second. So as you can see here, I've pasted all of the Google citations, and I'm also going to do the exact same thing for Perplexity. So again, we're just going to go to Perplexity. Where is it? Perplexity. We're going to click on sources here, and we're just going to hold down on the letter Z and copy all of these citations. So some of the AIs or some of the LLMs, they will have more. Like for example, Google had a lot more than ChatGPT and also Perplexity as well. But some cases they might have less, they might have more. In some cases with Claude as well, it gives you the citations like this, so it doesn't actually give you a list. In this case, it might be a little bit more time consuming, but you might need to just open up the sources and then paste it into the sheet. But this is what we've done so far, right? So we've got all of our Google AI sources, and all I've done is I've literally just copied the sources from the right-hand side into the actual sheet. You can obviously do this manually if you really wanted to, or you can use the Link Clump Chrome extension. Then I've done the exact same thing for Perplexity. So I've went in, these guys, they had 15 sources and we just pasted that in. Same goes with ChatGPT, and then same goes with Claude as well. Now, if you're on a smaller screen, right, the prompt either might be on the right-hand side or on the bottom. So just check where the actual prompt is. What we're going to basically do is we're going to organize this because right now it's an absolute mess, right? We're going to copy all of the sources. We're going to go to ChatGPT. We're going to paste in all of the sources, and we're going to paste in our prompt here, right? So all I've done, all of the sources up here and the prompt down here, and we're going to hit go. This is basically going to organize all of the actual columns for us. So what we can now do is we can actually just copy, or we can actually delete everything that we've done. And basically now this is going to give us the scoring system. So has it finished? There we go. Right, it's finished. So all we're going to do is we're going to click on copy. We're then going to click paste here. And we're just going to get rid of this. So as you can see here, we've got some links. And what we're also going to do here is we're just going to highlight this. If you've got more sources, you might just need to pull down those numbers on your Google Sheet. But as you can see, we have got all of the sources. So for example, Tech Radar has been mentioned on Google AI, Perplexity, and also ChatGPT. So this is coming back saying that's a 15 total points. So let's try and reach out to those. Allaboutcookies.org. These guys are getting mentioned again on Google AI, Perplexity, and also ChatGPT. Try and get that link as well. We've obviously got PC Mag as well, which is being mentioned on Google AI, Perplexity, and also Claude. We've also got top10vpn.com. So this page is being mentioned. If we just open this up, this page has actually been mentioned on, let's see, Perplexity, ChatGPT, and Claude. So again, that would be another link. Then we've got some 10 pointers here as well. So for example, we've got passwordmanager.com, which is a 10 pointer that's been mentioned on ChatGPT and Claude. So as you can see, in some cases, some of the cheaper backlinks are the ones that's actually pushing the needle. Like for example, if we solely cared about ranking in Perplexity, a lot of the links on Perplexity, it's actually to do with like they're very low DR backlinks, very achievable backlinks. Now, I won't go out fully into how to do outreach because there's people that are way better than this than me, but what I will show you guys very quickly is you can grab any one of these domains and you can use a tool called hunter.io to find the email of that person that's published the actual article. So if you've never used hunter.io, if you log in, by the way, again, it's a free tool. I think you get 50 credits every single month for free. You can literally select Finder. We can grab the domain name, so top10vpn.com. We can paste that in there and we can find that person. So we could either search for his name. So this guy's called Simon Mijaliano. I've definitely butchered that name. Definitely not how you pronounce it. If we paste that name in, it's going to give us the name and the email there. So Simon at top10vpn.com. Thank God he's not got his surname in his email because I would have completely got it wrong again. But you can also reach out to him on LinkedIn as well. So we could actually reach out to him. We could say something like, hey, we've got Kasra VPN. It's a new VPN provider. Could you get us listed on there? In some cases, they might ask for a fee. In some cases, they might not as well. I'll very quickly as well, I know I am running out of time a little bit, I'll very quickly run through the LLM questions as well, because again, it's pretty important that you do these on your own website. So now that we've finished with the mention scorer, we're looking at the LLM questions tab, and there are just so many questions that people do not have on their own website. So one thing that I actually done at the start of the year, actually it was before the start of the year, I think it was like mid 2025, I actually included some questions to help LLMs understand who I am. So for example, and this can apply to any business, it's not necessarily just for a person. So for example, what's the business name? Who was the founder? Who founded the business? What does the business do? What are the topics associated with that business? All of these should be answered in one way or another, either on your homepage or on your about page on your website. Same goes with like location data. Again, if you're like an e-commerce store, this might not necessarily be applicable to you because, again, in some cases, like e-com stores are literally just online based. So pick and choose what feels like the best suitable questions to have. Not all of these questions will be suitable or applicable to your business. Then you've got services. Again, if you're an e-commerce store, this might not be applicable as such. You've got the target audience, so who the primary target audience is. You've got credibility, so have you won any awards? Have you got any credentials? Maybe you are a CPA accountant, so you're a chartered public accountant, for example. Then have you got any schema markup? Again, schema markup is a little bit of a grey area because some people say Google doesn't look at schema markup. I just like to do structured data mainly because it's just another tick in the box. I don't really necessarily care if Google AI overviews reads it or not. It helps in other ways. And then you've also got brand messaging. And what I've basically done here is, if you go to kasra-.com, you'll see that I've got all of these questions here. I'm sure there is better ways of actually of structuring it, but this is how I've structured it on my website. You can also have like an about page as well. That's one thing that I need to do on my own website. Get an about page, and actually I have an about page. I recently added it, but there's all of these different ways that you can actually help feed the LLMs. The more information it has about you or your business, the more it's going to understand, and the more it's going to associate you with certain entities as well. So, for example, I'm talking about affiliate site scale. So I've been fairly successful in the affiliate game. I've been able to successfully scale out a lot of affiliate websites in the past. I've got a lot of YouTube subscribers. I'm the #1 top SEO expert in 2026. I'm sure that will change after this stream. And then I've also covered some information about myself, where I am like an expert in, so like link building, local SEO, website recovery. I've also mentioned podcast appearances as well. And then just some trust and authority as well. So like where I have won awards, for example, places that I've spoken at, etc., etc. And then I've also got like my LinkedIn and my socials as well. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Again, I'm sorry that I couldn't make the live stream. I'll probably be in a plane somewhere in the world while this is actually going live. If you guys haven't already, make certain to scan the QR code. Again, it's a free sheet. It's going to help you a lot, and it's going to save you a lot of time and effort. But yeah, thank you guys so much. If you guys do have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm active on socials, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. Thanks. Welcome back to another video, and today I am going to be showing you guys how to rank in LLMs. Some people call it GEO, some people call it AI SEO, some people call it generative ranking, whatever the nickname for it is now when it comes to LLM SEO. So ranking basically higher in AI overviews, in ChatGPT, and Claude. I'm going to be showing you guys how to do it step by step. In this video, I've put together maybe a 20-point checklist that you guys can follow. If you want the link to this checklist, it will be down in the description, so you can actually get access to it. It's completely free to use. Just make certain that you obviously make a copy when you get it. So you can go to File, make a copy, and then obviously you can actually edit and access it as and when you need to. And also, if you haven't already, please remember to subscribe and also hit the like button. We are doing daily SEO/AI videos yet again. So starting off with one of the most important sections when it comes to ranking in AI or in LLMs is the semantic content, the content strategy on our own website. So this is an asset that we actually own. This is the first step that we want to make certain is optimized. So when LLMs basically come ranking or crawling our website, it clearly knows what we do, who we are, where we're based, and what our customers are as well. So first of all, we have got building entity first pages. Each page should clearly define one main entity and 3 to 5 supporting entities as well. So for example, if we've got a page talking about boiler installation in Manchester, that could then link to Gas Safe Register, Valiant, which is a boiler brand, and then we've also got Manchester City, which is a location. So in that case, we've got a specific type of service, we've got a brand that is like a boiler brand, and we've also got a city, which basically would mean that we've got 3 entities on that page. So every page, that's, again, as a rule of thumb, that's what you should be aiming for. When I've looked at a lot of websites, they don't have that. That's why they're not ranking in AI overviews. So for example here, right, if I was to search what are the best dentists in Manchester, right, for your business to get pulled into this, Google, first of all, needs to realize, A, you are a dentist company, B, which services you provide, and C, that you're actually in Manchester, right? So this goes for any type of business. It doesn't matter if you're a boiler, it doesn't matter if you're a hairdresser, it doesn't matter if you are a dentist, right? A lot of the time, this is what you actually need. Now, the reason why I've pulled this snippet up is because I was looking at a set of websites the other week, and this is dentists in Oldham, right? Now, this company here, they've only just got Rhodes Street Dental as the H1. Now, again, as the page title of their website. Now, if you wanted to rank for this specific area, especially in LLMs and AI overviews, you would want to make certain that you actually have got Oldham within your page title, because although it's not SEO, a lot of LLM and GEO stuff still relies on you having a strong foundation when it comes to your SEO rankings. The next checklist that we're going to mention is using semantic triples. So what that means is basically it's really, really clear for Google or for AI or for LLMs to understand certain entities about your company. Now, the reason why we do that is because when LLMs come to crawl our website and come to retract information from our website, it should be really easy for LLMs to extract all of the information. So, for example, this is a sentence here. Kasra Dash founded the Masterminders conference, right? It's very easy that I am the founder of the Masterminders conference. However, if this sentence was really fluffy, like if it was something along the lines of Kasra Dash helped found the Masterminders in 2023 conference, it's not clear. And in some cases, if you're solely relying on AI and you're not fact checking and you're not ensuring all of the sentences are properly optimized, if you're, for example, going into ChatGPT and saying, hey, write me an article on dentistry in Oldham, right, it will spit out some article that isn't actually SEO optimized and it's not LLM ready. So we want to make certain that our sentences obviously include semantic triples. We also want to optimize our internal linking as well. So you can use certain tools like Screaming Frog and Sitebulb when it comes to that. One thing that I would say is do not use generic anchors. Try to be as descriptive as you possibly can. Don't use anchors when it comes to your internal linking, like read more, for example. So if we take a look at this article here, right, this has actually got two really good examples that I wanted to show you guys. So they've got a bullet point / question, and this is basically saying, how many solar panels do I need in the UK, right? The average home needs 8 to 13 solar panels, right? Now, going back to what we were saying, it is very, very clear from the word go that how many solar panels a house needs. Now, in some cases, I have seen websites in this exact same niche and they do not answer, they do not spit out the answer. They'll say something like, well, it depends on the size of the house, how many rooms it has. Google doesn't care about that. Google wants an answer, right? So there's no point beating around the bush. You want to be very, very direct with your question and answering. The other thing that I wanted to show you guys is how well they have internally linked. So, for example, before installing solar panels, boom, it is linking to their solar panels page. This is what you would want to do. If you do want to check out their website, it is called greenmatch.co.uk. They're actually doing a fairly decent job with their actual SEO campaign. And if we were to take a look at like all their other internal links as well, right? At no point do they ever say read more or learn more here, right? It's always talking about, like, for example, commercial solar panels, garden solar panels, right? Everything is just very, very direct, and you know exactly where you're going when you click one of their internal links. Then what you want to do is build contextual bridges. So connect clusters with causal or relation sentences. So a way of thinking about that, right, is if you've got a page talking about boiler maintenance, you could internally link to carbon monoxide leaks, because if somebody is usually getting their boiler maintained, they're not going to end up having a carbon monoxide leak, right? So that's how you want to be thinking when it comes to your internal linking and making certain what to actually include on certain pages. The last thing that we're going to talk about in the content strategy is making certain that we are clearly defining key terms so LLMs can quote your definitions. Now, in some cases, you might talk about, for example, topical authority, right? Now, you again need to realize that some LLMs, or you should treat all LLMs, AI, as a child almost, right? So if you're talking about a very advanced topic, you almost want to break it down, and the best way that you can do this is by having like a definition block or a quote section on your website or on your web page. Now, say for example, if we're talking about topical authority, we might have a section within our content saying topical authority is a measure of how comprehensive a site covers a subject. Now, the reason why we do that, right, most of our readers, I would like to assume, understands topical authority, or most people watching this video understands topical authority. But in some cases, if you're talking about a certain subject, or if you're talking about a certain niche product, you need to train the LLMs on what that specific product is. And the best way that you can do that is by having a section on your website, on your web page, doing that. Now, I've kind of done the exact same thing on my own website. So I've used like a block section, and I'm talking about like thin content pages and ranking factors. And I've said in a block quote, use tools like Screw and Frog to identify thin pages and expand them with rich, detailed content, incorporating multimedia outbound links where necessary, right? Basically, this is not necessarily for the readers, but it's also for LLMs as well when it comes to crawling my website. There's a variety of different ways you can do this. This is just with block quotes. Again, we're helping feed more information to the LLMs. The next thing that you can obviously do is having an about page, offer, or contact information as well. Now, in my case, on my own website, if we scroll down to the very bottom, you will see that we actually have my face there, a little bit about myself as well. Now, I would recommend doing this. Again, these guys have also done it. If we scroll up, as you can see, written by Hannah Maza, edited by Rawil Ahmed, and also last updated 30th of April 2025. Now, the more information that you can give it like this, again, the LLMs will help, or you'll basically help the LLMs, and they will obviously think that you are more of an expert if you're specifically talking about solar panels, or if you're specifically talking about SEO. Now, this next one is a little bit of a touchy subject for some people, and I'll explain in just a second. Now, I'm a big fan of using schema. I think that it can definitely help, not even just in the LLM and the AI space, but it can help from a variety of different reasons. Like previously, I searched for what are the best dentists in Manchester, and although ChatGPT, I believe, or OpenAI have recently came out and said, like, we do not look at schema, we just look at what's being said on the actual website. But in some cases, if you are trying to rank higher, or if you're trying to be seen as a major entity, for example, in Manchester for a dental practice, I would still recommend using schema. I would definitely just not completely ignore it. The next thing is obviously building entity hubs, so topic clusters. Now, again, it's very hard for Google and also LLMs to trust your website if you don't have enough knowledge. Now, there's certain websites in certain industries that get mentioned a lot more because they have a lot of content to do with hiking, or they have a lot of content to do with SEO, for example, right? So if you are able to demonstrate that you truly understand what you're talking about, whether it's SEO, whether it's on-page SEO, whether it's hiking, whatever the case is, LLMs and also Google will be able to cite your website a lot more. Now, the reason why this is important is a lot of people think that they can have 1 or 2 pages, 1 or 2 blog articles live on their website, and the LLMs will automatically trust them. Now, trust is obviously earned by the amount of articles that you produce, the amount of expertise that you put out on the web. Now, there's in certain cases, people solely go on to ChatGPT and they will write an author's name. Like, for example, can you get me the last 5 articles that Kasra produced, or the 5 videos that Kasra produced? And if your name isn't consistently being seen attached to your industry, then obviously you're going to have some issues ranking in LLMs. Now, if we take a look at this, for example, who are the best online reputation management experts? As you can see, we've got Scott Keever, Nestor, James Dooley, myself, and Leo Sulas, right? Now, if I didn't have a strong online presence to do with digital marketing, to do with online marketing, SEO, ORM, then my name would not be able to actually show up in any of these AI overviews. So again, you want to make certain, if it's, for example, an offer, or whether it's a business, for example, you're making certain that everything is actually marked down in the AI overviews using schema. And you also want to make certain that you're obviously building that topical authority, building the content clusters. So Google can obviously assign you with the expert in tree surgery or the expert in SEO. That's exactly what we've basically been able to do with this AI overview where we're actually ranking, right? So we've got obviously myself there. Now, one thing that not many people know about is AI overviews tend to quote the first 1 or 2 sentences on your actual page. So make certain that they are obviously entity rich. Now, again, we've used an example here where we are talking about boiler replacement in Manchester typically cost £1,800 to £3,000 depending on the actual brand, etc. Right? Now, you want to make certain that obviously if you are going after like an FAQ style question and answer, you're spitting out the answer as quickly as possible. Now, the last section when it comes to on-page and structural SEO is if you are in more of like a health industry, you're talking about, for example, diets or certain things like that fall under the your money, your life area, right? If you are citing a specific fact, you want to make certain that you are backing it up. Now, for example, according to UK government energy data, ONS 2024, and then you can obviously internal link to the government website or where you found that, claim. Now, if you're not actively doing this, then you're not actually citing a credible source, meaning that even the things that you publish on your website might not then get cited in LLMs. The number one thing when it comes to facts, for example, getting facts pulling into LLMs, ChatGPT, AI, etc., is if you are citing something that's like really wild. Like, let's say, for example, you mention on your website that if you smoke 15 cigarettes a day, it can cause XYZ disease, right? And this might be true, but if you're not backing this up with sites or with credible sources, high authority sources, then that will, or LLMs will struggle to pull that in. Now, they've basically created a system in place that stops false news. And if you aren't being able to cite credible sources, you're going to have a really hard time. Now, again, this is for like health situations. If you're just a plumber in Manchester trying to rank, right, it's not going to be that extremely difficult. Like, don't think that you need to start citing sources on every single blog article. It's only for medical stuff, or for example, if you're talking about finance, again, certain industries like that, you need to be a little bit more citation worthy, like linking to high authority sources and stuff. But if you're like a plumber or a local business, you probably might not need to worry about this step. Then we've got technical and crawl optimization. Now, obviously, you want to make certain that you are crawling your website with tools like Screaming Frog, for example, Or you can obviously use Sitebulb as well. Two really good auditing tools. The reason why we want to make certain our website is actually crawl worthy and it's actually being picked up is if your website is, for example, super slow, or maybe you've got like loads of broken links or loads of technical SEO issues, very quickly all the LLMs will stop coming back and crawling your website. No matter how good your content is, no matter how good your backlinks are, you want to just make certain that you've got a good, strong technical foundation. Now, again, this is probably for a separate video, but if you haven't already, run a Screaming Frog audit, figure out any of the issues. If you don't know how to use Screaming Frog, let me know. I will create a separate video, but that probably deserves its own video. The next check that we want to do is we want to make certain that our website actually has got a sitemap. Now, again, this is very similar to SEO, right? Whenever a LLM, whether it's OpenAI, Claude, whoever comes to crawl your website, whichever bot it is, one of the very first files that it's going to obviously take a look at is your robots.txt. Now, if you've never looked at what your robots.txt file looks like, I just load up a random website, robots.txt. This is basically what it looks like, right? So we've obviously got certain pages that we allow, that we've got certain bots that we can obviously disallow from crawling as well. But then, as you can see here, right at the bottom, we have got the sitemap. So whenever a AI bot, for example, whether it's ChatGPT, comes, the first thing that it's going to obviously take a look at is our sitemap. Now, for whatever reason, there we go, pages. As you can see, this is where all of our pages basically stay. So that's one of the first things that all the AI bots, LLMs and stuff like that is going to crawl. Now, if your sitemap.xml isn't accessible, that's when, again, you're going to cause a lot of issues. If it's not accessible, that technically means that Google or OpenAI, Claude, Perplexity might not crawl your entire website. It might crawl certain parts. So you want to make certain that all of your pages are actually on this. Now, I don't think that all of the pages for this website is actually on here, which is a little bit of a concern for these guys. But obviously make certain that you do that check for your own website. Now, the next step when it comes to technical SEO is making certain that our website is semantically HTML5 relevant, right? So obviously we've got, for example, brackets to do with articles. We've got a side if we're using sidebars, main, slit section, etc. One thing that I would probably say for this step, if you're not much of a developer, probably show this to your actual developer. They'll be able to sort it within 5-10 minutes across all your site, especially if you're using WordPress and you're using page templates as well. Then we have got including vector embedding. So storing or exposing page embeddings for external AI search or hybrid retrieval. So embedding pages into... So I've actually decided to remove that last technical step, mainly because it probably deserves its own video and not everyone would actually need it. So the next step is our authority and also our trust. So acquiring contextual backlinks, in brackets, entity matching. Right, so let's take a look at some actual websites here. If we were to take a look at, or if we were to do a search for best SEO tools, let's say. Now, there's an AI overview here. We've obviously got Reddit, Zapier, YouTube mentioned. In here, we can obviously click through, and there's going to be definitely more. Like we've got all-in-one SEO, we've got Surfer SEO, we've got Elementor. Now, all of these websites have one thing in common. If say, for example, I launched an SEO tool tomorrow and I wanted to show higher in this AI overview, I would be creating a list of all of these websites that I would then decide to reach out to. The reason for that is because these are what's called like listicles. They're listing maybe 5, 6, 10, 15, 25 of our competitors. And currently, right now, we aren't anywhere to be seen. So that's really important when it comes to both acquiring contextual links, but also being shown on the actual knowledge graph as well. So a few other things that you can obviously do when it comes to the knowledge graph is making certain that you've got a Wikidata, making certain that you've got Crunchbase, or your structured profiles are helping with your entity. So what I mean by structured profiles is making certain that you also have got your social media. You've got YouTube, you've got Facebook, you've got Twitter, you've got Instagram. All of these will also help create a knowledge graph for your brand as well. So then the next step when it comes to authority and trust signals is making certain that we are getting our brand mentioned along with context. Now, previously what a lot of people would do is they would just plaster their brand anywhere and everywhere that they could possibly find. However, let's say we were going to be doing this for my own SEO conference, right? If I was going to have my brand mentioned on another website, I might go with something like Kasra is a SEO strategist and the founder of the Masterminders. That way it's clear as day what I do, who I am, and what I am attached to, which is my conference, the Masterminders. Then we've got our AI visibility and testing section. Now, if we take a look here, we have got tests for entity recognition. So ask LLMs, what is brand XYZ known for? Now, let's say, for example, you are a bakery and it comes back and it says you are a plumbing company. You've got some major issues. You probably don't have enough brand mentions with actual context. So you would probably want to go back to this section here and making certain that your brand is mentioned along with the context of what you do, who you are, what you provide. Now, we can obviously do this very, very quickly with ChatGPT, for example. Now, if we take a look here, what is the Masterminders known for? And I'm hoping it comes back saying that we are a SEO conference, because otherwise it will be incorrect. So the Masterminders is known for one of the most exclusive results-driven and SEO digital marketing conferences created by Kasra and James Daly. This is slightly incorrect, but we move forward. Elite Mastermind format, global SEO authority, no filter tactical context, curated networking, ROI-focused sponsorships. Now, one thing that I would actually recommend you guys do is try this on multiple LLMs, because you would be surprised in how much one differs to another. So again, we will take a look here. Masterminders is known as the UK's leading SEO conference, held annually, with the next event scheduled for 24th to the 26th of 2026. Brings together over 250 marketers and top SEOs from more than 25 countries. That's perfect. It is actually citing a lot of our trusted links as well. So if we take a look at the sources, we've obviously got a lot of actual brand mentions here as well. Now, obviously, we've just done section number 2 here, but we want to try to figure out if Claude's saying the same, if Gemini's saying the same, if ChatGPT's saying the same, if all 3, 4, 5 of them are saying the exact same thing about your brand, which this is probably one of the more important checks to do. That means that there is enough consensus online saying the exact same thing. There's enough context around your brand. One thing that you also want to make certain that you are doing is tracking your mentions as well. Now, one thing that you can obviously do is you can search Google Alerts, and you can put in whatever brand that you want. So you can put in your name, you can put in your company, you can put in whatever. And you basically want to make certain that you are getting alerts every time your brand is actually being mentioned, because that way that you can actually monitor what's being said. For example, if there's a false narrative that's being said, you can very, very quickly put out another article, put out a press release, for example, actually stating the fact about this. Now, if we take a look at my own name, for example, as you can see, one of the very most recent mentions that I had was top 5 best online reputation management experts in the world, making a global impact in 2026, right? So that's been put out there. I'm happy for that to be put out, because my name's associated with something that is actually good and positive as well. Now, one thing that you also want to make certain of is if, say, for example, you're talking about a new subject, you want to make certain that you actually have got trusted sources mentioning you as well. Now, again, we've just used Perplexity for this. There's certain tools or certain LLMs that I prefer for certain tasks. And I would say that Perplexity is one of the better ones when it comes to citing sources because it just gives you so many. Now, I've just searched topical authority SEO Kasra, right? And if I click on sources, you'll very quickly see that there's a lot of different videos. There's a lot of different websites talking about topical authority. I've even got like my Twitter and stuff. But if we take a look here, and as you can see, Kasra is AI enhanced SEO mastery key strategies from SEO Reborn Summit. Now, this is from a course that I'd done maybe about a year ago talking about topical authority and how important it is. So very quickly, LLMs do associate my name for topical authority as well. And again, that's super important when it comes to making certain that your offers actually have brand authority and actual expertise within a certain industry as well. The last thing that you want is optimizing for consensus retrieval. So again, this kind of goes hand in hand with the ad brand mentions with context. But again, the more places that you can be seen, the more social media channels, YouTube descriptions, podcasts, blog articles that you can put out about a certain subject, that's when Google can trust you a lot more. Like, I would not be able to show up in all of these AI overviews for my name if I didn't have so many YouTube videos online, if I didn't have a blog article online, if I didn't speak at conferences, if I hadn't done all the podcasts, if I wasn't present on social media. When it comes to AI overviews, and this is probably one of the most important things because a lot of people think that they can hijack an AI overview overnight. When in some cases you can, especially the easier ones, but if you're going after something super difficult, you want to be seen everywhere as much as possible. You want to be seen on LinkedIn. You want to be seen on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, in as many places as you possibly can. Now, if we take a look here, right, this is just my knowledge panel for my actual name. As you can see, my YouTube ranks, my Instagram ranks. I've got my latest posts coming in from Facebook. I've got my LinkedIn. I've got my Twitter account. And then there's also a load of videos and there's also shorts as well. I am basically being as omni-channel as possible right now to try and rank in as many different locations and as many different spots as possible. If I wasn't doing that, then basically Google would not trust me as much when it comes to ranking me for certain keywords like Best SEO Experts 2026, etc. Now, if you can replicate even just one or two of these things, you're going to have a much nicer and easier chance to rank in LLMs. Whereas if you're doing none of these things and you're just hoping that you can build one or two assets, for example, one or two links, mention your name, and that's how you want to try and get into AI overviews, that's going to be a very, very difficult task. Now, that's been my video on how to rank in LLMs, GEO, AI SEO, AI overviews. I don't know what the cool kids call it nowadays, but that's been my video. It's been like a 31 minute long video. If you guys do have any questions, feel free to drop them down in the comment section. And if you have enjoyed the video, please remember to leave a like and subscribe. If you want to work with me, head over to kasra-.com, fill in the contact form, and I will be in touch. Thank you for watching. LLM SEO. I'm going to be showing you guys how you can rank higher. Now, as you can see here, Best SEO Experts 2026. This is inside Perplexity. And as you can see, we've got Kasra, we've got James Dooley, Corey, Kyle Roof, Matt Diggity, Trifon, everyone that I know. And then as you can see within Claude here, we've got Kasra, James Dooley, Scott Keever, Katerina, Simon, Gareth Hoyle. The list goes on and on and on. And then if we go over to Google AI Overviews, as you can see here, we have got Kasra, Carl Hodgson, Matt Diggity. We've got Jamie IF and a few others as well. And then if you take a look here, you can see in the top 20 SEO list, we've got Kasra and James Dooley there as well. So when it comes to ranking in LLMs, as you can see, like if you optimize for one, whether it's Claude, whether it's Perplexity, whether it's ChatGPT, or Google's own AI overview, you are very likely to show up in all of them. In essence, all of these AI tools, or LLMs if you want to call it that, they have a very similar approach. They have got a list of websites and they will go and scan those websites and aggregate the actual information. So, for example, if there are 150 websites all mentioning how great of an SEO you are or how amazing your e-commerce store is, there's more chance of you showing up for certain keywords. Now, as you can see, this is exactly what's happened here. So when I search best SEO experts to follow 2026, we've obviously got the AI overview right at the top. We've got a lot of different names being mentioned here. But if we actually take a look at the sources, right, as you can see, we've got my own website, kasra-.com, ranking in the #1 slot with all of the names, right? So we've got Charles Float, Gareth Hoyle, Jamie IF, Corey, Matt Diggity, Craig Campbell. The list goes on and on and on, right? Then if we were to go to position #2, if we take a look here, this is Dean Signori, and he has done a very similar approach where he's positioned himself #1 and he's named all the other SEOs. Then if we go to position #3, for example, as you can see here, we've got Jan Porkan from Priority Prospect, and as you can see here, he's done the listicle, named all of the SEOs. Then we've got Nikola Baldakov, and with his LinkedIn profile, he's been able to create a list of all of the SEOs here, and as you can see, very similar list, and that's basically how the listicles actually end up ranking inside the AI overviews. Now, when it comes to AI overviews and ranking, highly recommend you guys get this sheet. I'll have a link to this down in the description as well, so you guys can get access to it. If you do get access to it, click on file and then make a copy. But we need to know of 3 different asset types, right? We have got owned assets, then we've got rented assets, and then we've also got PR as well. Now, basically what owned assets are is you actually own them. So that could be your website, for example. As you can see here, this is our own website. It's actually not going to the correct page. So this is our own website here. Then we've got the LinkedIn Pulse article. Now I've just linked to Nicola's LinkedIn post because I've actually not done a LinkedIn article just yet, but that is another way that you can actually control the narrative and get into AI overviews a little bit more. Then you've got like other owned assets. Like I could do a video on my YouTube channels about the best SEO experts to follow in 2026. I actually probably should as well. And that again would help feed the LLMs. Then you've obviously got Twitter. You've even got like Medium articles. With the Medium article, I would actually probably put it as being owned because you actually own the asset. You could even do like a Reddit post as well in here. But again, it does come down to what assets that you actually own. Like in some cases, some websites might have a very strong Pinterest profile and you might decide, okay, I'm going to do more Pinterest posts, for example. We then on the list have podcast mentions. So again, you could do like a podcast or you could do a podcast run. Now, one thing that I would say when it comes to AI overviews, right? If I was to just make up a name here, like Kasra Diggity, for example, right? It would be a lot harder for Google to understand who Kasra Diggity is because there's no other mentions. Now, the good thing about doing LLM SEO is indirectly you're actually helping with EEAT. So what I mean by that is it's very prominent. Like, for example, the most prominent names that continuously come up is Kasra Dash, Matt Diggity, Ferry Kazoni, Leo Sulas, and Charles Float. And the reason for that is because we've probably got the most prominence out of everyone on the list. For example, like Matt Diggity has a really big following on YouTube. He's got a big website, and Google obviously understands who Matt Diggity is. Same goes with Ferry, same goes with Charles Float. So again, if you do have a lot of podcast mentions, if you are guesting or like being a guest on a lot of podcasts, obviously that can definitely help in the long run as well. Then you've got digital PR articles. Now, I've actually not done any digital PR articles, but if we were to get like a search engine journal or an SE round table mentioning these SEOs, that can, again, definitely help big time. Then I've got like the Masterminders website. Now, I've not done anything on the Masterminders website, but again, because Masterminders, it's an SEO conference, I'm constantly getting speakers and stuff like that. I could have done a article on the Masterminders for best SEO experts, and that could definitely help. Now, these are all of the rented. Now, there's a ton of rented assets here. I believe there was at least 26 or 27 of us that took part in this test. It wasn't just me, by the way. I do have to thank everyone that actually did do the actual test. Like, for example, Katerina, Carl Hudson, Milos, David from Score Mines. There was a lot of us that actually took part in this test, right? But these are basically what's called rented assets. So the rented assets, like Dean, for example, could technically remove anyone from this list. Like I don't own that list, for example. He's just been kind enough to write an article. Same goes with the guys at UK Linkology. You've got George and Jason, for example. These guys, again, could change the list next year if they really wanted to. So these are basically what's called rented assets. Now, the rented assets, it's really important to get as many brand mentions, whether it's your name, whether it's your company, on these rented assets, along with your competitors. And again, this in some cases sounds a little bit backwards, because as SEOs, we've always been trained to not give any link equity or not give any brand mentions to our competitors. But that's probably the one biggest difference when it comes to ranking in inside AI overviews and ChatGPT and Claude, etc. If you are not being mentioned, like if my name is not being mentioned alongside guys like Matt Diggity, for example, Julian Goldie, James Dooley, Neil Patel, right? Google will not associate my brand or my personal name as being an SEO, right? My name needs to be alongside some of the greatest SEOs. Otherwise, Google's just going to think, Kasra Dash is just a general digital marketer, right? Which that's not what I want to give off. I want to be listed in articles with Lily Ray's name, Alida Solis, Brian Dean, Rand Fishkin, Craig Campbell, etc. If my name is not mentioned in any listicles or any rented assets, then Google's going to have a really hard time figuring out what I do. Now, the same goes with like a brand, for example. If I was to go and set up a sports brand, right, tomorrow, let's call it Kasra Fitness, I would want assets, like rented assets, naming my brand alongside brands like Adidas, Nike, Puma, Gymshark. Otherwise, again, Google might not understand what I do, or LLMs might not understand what I do, who I serve, and what my target audience is. And then the last one down here, we actually have got a little bit of a press release being sent out. So we've got the best 26 experts to watch in 2026. And if we take a look here, as you can see, this is actually showing up the press release as opposed to a regular AI overview. But again, we've got the list of the wonderful names that actually did take part in the test. So massive shout out to everyone that took part. It wouldn't have been possible without everyone that actually did take part. But this is basically just a big PR gig, basically showcasing the best 26 experts. This is another one as well that we decided to do. And again, this helped when it comes to feeding the LLMs. So the biggest three things, right? If you want to be cheap and if you don't want to actually spend much money doing this, I would always recommend going after the owned assets because you own them. You don't need to pay. So for example, making certain that you have got a listicle on your own website, making certain that you have got a LinkedIn Pulse article, making certain that you've got a YouTube video, making certain that you've got a Twitter profile mentioning the roundup, even posting on Medium. Then you've got like podcasts. Now podcasts, I would say that they're probably a little bit middle ground because in some cases you might need to pay to go on to certain podcasts, especially if you're just starting out. In other cases, you might not. Then you've got like the digital PR. Digital PR is probably going to be the most expensive on the list. I would probably leave that to be in last. In some cases, you might not need digital PR. Depends on the keyword difficulty and how much competition there is inside the LLMs. Then you've got the rented assets. So that would be like the listicles on your competitors' websites, for example. And then we've got the PR as well down here. Again, with the PR, you might not need it if you do have a lot of rented assets that you can get mentioned on as well. So that's been my video on how to rank in LLMs like ChatGPT, Google AI Overviews, Claude, Perplexity, every single one of them. If you do want this list, the link will be down below. So click the link down below, grab the sheet while you can. Obviously, you would want to basically just try and get like maybe 10 to 15 mentions. And that's the sweet spot for a lot of different keywords. Unless you're in like something super hyper competitive, you might need more. But for this test, this definitely worked. If you guys have enjoyed the video, please remember to leave a like. And as always, please subscribe. We are doing daily videos. If you want my help with LLM rankings, SEO, head over to kasra.com and fill in the contact form and I'll be in touch. Thanks. LLMs work by looking for patterns. They pick brands that appear trustworthy, clear, and consistent. And today I'm going to be showing you exactly 3 methods that you can start using for your brand to show up higher in LLMs. You're probably wondering, why should I trust this guy? So, best UK SEO conferences. As you can see, the Masterminders is my own personal SEO conference. We are in the AI overview, alongside other brands, of course. Best SEO experts, as you can see here, were mentioned multiple times. Kasra. So you get the clearer picture. I'm going to show you guys exactly what I have done to rank multiple brands time and time again in LLMs. Also, if you haven't already, download myseo.app. The link will be in the description. We've got live streams in there. We have SOPs, tutorials, a community section. So if you're ever stuck when it comes to SEO, GEO, AI, workflows, anything like that, the app will have you covered. So method number 1. Now, if we search for alternatives to Wise, for example, now if you don't know what Wise is, they are pretty much one of the biggest online banks in the world, and they are actually got a lot of different pages and also a lot of different competitors as well. Now, if we actually expand this AI overview, you will see a variety of different actual brands. So you've got Revolut, you've got PayPal, Western Union, OFX, XE Money, TorFX, a variety of different competitors. Now, it's really important, and this is going to sound a little bit backwards, especially for some of the SEOs watching this, that you actually get yourself mentioned in some of these actual articles, some of these listicles. Now, one thing when it comes to getting mentioned in some of these actual listicles is obviously you can do this entire search on ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, and every single time the sources will slightly vary as well. So as you can see here, we have got quite a long list of websites to actually reach out to. But again, if we were to actually do the exact same search, alternatives to Wise, on ChatGPT, you'll see that we've got a slightly varied set of results here. And these would be the websites that I would basically want to reach out to. Now, if you have never done outreach, you don't know how it works, you don't know where to start, I'm going to give you a 60-second crash course. So what you want to do is grab any of one of these websites. So we'll just go with violet.com. Of course, the one that I end up picking is a 404. So what we'll do instead is we'll go to airwallets.com. All right, we'll grab this URL. Use a tool like hunter.io. This is completely free as well. Paste in the URL here. What you also want to do is try and find the actual author. So this article was written by David Beach. So we're going to go back to hunter.io, paste in the name here, click on enter, and this is this person's email. Now, what you want to do is use a outreach template. So you can either write one yourself or you can use one that I've actually provided. The link for this sheet is completely free, by the way. It'll be in the comment section or in the description below. You've got the outreach for citations right at the end, and you can use any one of these. So you could use a long version, you could use a short version. This would basically be the actual email that we would be sending out. So all I would basically do is grab this and head over to Gmail, and then this is something that I would probably send out. Wise Alternatives article. Hi David, I saw your Google's AI overview citing your article, and then I have linked to their actual article. I made something that fills that exact gap AI is still missing. My brand is called Kasra Wallet X. You can obviously go into a little bit more detail if you really wanted to, and then if it helps your readers, feel free to add it. Thanks, Kasra. Now, with this sheet, there are different, obviously, versions as well. So you've got like a longer version, you've got a short version, you've got a monetary version. In finance, in adult sectors, in iGaming, you're probably going to need to use this monetary value, because a lot of websites end up charging you for their time of actually updating that article. If they need to actually write the article themselves, they'll end up charging you for their actual content cost and stuff like that. If you want the sheet, it's completely free. Just make certain you click on file and then obviously make a copy for yourself. The link will be down below as well. Method number 2 when it comes to AI overviews, and again, this is going back to the actual Best SEO Experts 2026 example, is making certain that your content is properly structured and you're also using short sentences. So if we take a look at my own example, for example, Kasra Dash is a Scottish entrepreneur and SEO expert. Kasra Dash is the founder of the Masterminders, the best SEO conference in the world, and mySEO app, a private invite-only platform connecting verified SEOs and agency supplies. So this is very concise, it's very to the point, and it's the exact same for all of these examples. Like Ferry Kazoni is the founder of Search Intelligence, a digital PR agency that turns creative campaigns into backlinks from global media. You want to be very, very concise when it comes to writing your content. You don't want to be fluffing up your content. In a lot of cases, and even when I was speaking with Mihal on when we had him on mySEO app, he actually mentioned, and he's the owner of Surfer SEO, he actually mentioned that word count is pretty much obsolete. Now, that's not to say that an article with 10, 15, 20 words is going to outrank an article with 500 words, but it's no longer the case of you need to hit certain word counts. It's more about hitting or getting all of the entities actually on the page, which leads me on to my third and final point on how to rank in AI overviews, is spending time on actually writing entity-centric articles. Now, if you have never used a tool like Surfer SEO or any of the content writing tools, for example, you can search Google NLP tool, and this will actually scan your content and it'll tell you where the actual entities are. So if we actually take a look at the pre-written content here, you've got Google as an actual entity, so that's like the name of the organization. You've got Mountain View, which is the name of the actual location where they're based. You've got 1600 Amphitheater Parkway, Mountain View, and again, that's another address. So all of these things are actual entities. Now, if I actually just copy like this one paragraph here, and we just paste it into the actual tool for it to analyze, you'll actually see that it understands that my name is a entity. So I am actually it's deeming myself as an organization. It's deeming the Masterminders as an organization as well. It's tying a lot of loose ends together. Now, if you can do as much of this as possible, then even better. Now, in the actual sheet, I do have 10 different prompts when it comes to actually rewriting your content. Now, if we were to take a look at two different examples side by side, so we've got best SEO experts, and this specific website, we've obviously got a list of actual names, so we've got like top 10 list here. Now, one thing that you should always make certain if you're talking about someone's name, for example, is first of all, who is Yasser, right? Like Yasser could be anyone, for example. If I was to search Yasser, it's literally just pulling through a million different Yassers. Maybe not a million, but you get the point. So one thing you always want to do is if you're speaking about somebody's name, you obviously want to make certain that you actually mention it fully. The next thing you want to do is you want to make certain that you're stacking as many different entities. Now, this person here, for example, he's mentioned Josh George. Now, Josh George is a good friend of mine. I believe the agency that he works at, let me just double check this now. Yes, it's ClickSlice. So again, ClickSlice is a entity towards Josh George. Now, if we were to actually do a control F for ClickSlice, he's not mentioned it. Now, the reason why he's probably not mentioned his actual business name, it might be because he doesn't want people to search Josh's actual business name, but in this case it's actually going to help this article rank. Now, this article was on page number 5 of actual Google, and again, it's because it's actually missing a lot of entities. Now, if I was to just Google this, for example, or just run it through the actual NLP tool, so if we just do that, as you can see, it's very, very, very fluffy. There's a lot of grey content here. But what we can actually do is if we just copy this and head over to ChatGPT and use our actual prompt here. So this, we're just going to fire this in here. So as you can see already, among the best SEO consultants, Josh George, well-known UK-based search engine optimization, the founder of ClickSlice, which is what I was saying before. Now, if we were to just copy this back into Google NLP, you'll see that there's just a lot more entities there. You've obviously got Josh George, founder, ClickSlice, digital marketing agency. He's been in the game for 7 years. Now, what I would be doing in this case is I just think that this article is super fluffy. So I would literally just copy this entire article here, go back into ChatGPT, and again, just paste this in there. And again, we can just use our semantic our entity centric prompt, and it's just going to rewrite the entire article for us. Now, again, if we just take a look at the structure of this, so for example, Josh George, founder of the London-based SEO agency ClickSlice, and again, in the actual article that is ranking, it does not mention any of the company names. So again, Deepak Shukla, I know him very well. He is the founder of Lemon something. What's he called now? Pearl Lemon, that's the company. So again, if we just do a control F here, Pearl Lemon is not mentioned the actual company name. And if we take a look here, Deepak Shukla is the founder of Pearl Lemon, an award-winning London SEO consultant. And again, if we take a look at this, Yasser, you see how he's just not mentioned the company name at all. Again, there's a million different Yassers in the world. And again, just even ChatGPT with the correct prompting, it's struggling to pull back the actual entities and stuff like that. So in this case, I would probably even remove number 7, or if I actually did know who Yasser was, I would definitely use his full name there as well. Now, the reason why entities are so important is because Google no longer just ranks pages based off of keywords. It actually wants to understand the intent behind it. Even if we were to just do a quick search on why entities are important, entities are crucial for SEO because they help search engines understand the context and the meaning of the content beyond just simple keywords, leading to more relevant search results and also improved rankings. Now, there's a lot of different people talking about entities, but what you just need to understand is if you are talking about Elon Musk, for example, you want to be mentioning, for example, SpaceX, Tesla, rockets, for example, X, because that's all the companies that he's owned. That's basically called entity stacking, and it makes Google understand truly who you're talking about, or maybe if you're talking about a certain subject, maybe you're talking about link building, right? Link building could obviously be so even just by searching entities that are associated to link building, we've got backlinks, anchor text, domain rating, domain authority, page authority, referring domains. You get the point. As soon as you start mentioning these entities in your article, that's when Google becomes a lot more understanding of what your content is talking about. Are you talking about how link building is important? Are you talking about the downsides of link building, etc.? If you don't have entities, it's becoming more and more harder when it comes to rankings as well. So I hope you guys have enjoyed my video. Everything that I have used today in this video, I will have linked in the description. If you want the LLM SEO checklist, it will be down below. Just sign up. You'll get an email. Just make certain that you click on file and make a copy. If you want access to the app, it is invite only at the minute. Download it. It's available on iOS and also Android. Or if you want to work with me, head over to kasra-.com, fill in the contact form, and I will be in touch. And also, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Okay, LLM rankings. This is probably the most spoken about thing as of recording this video. I'm going to be showing you guys 3 different ways to rank and consistently show up inside LLMs. It doesn't matter if it's Google AI, Perplexity, Claude, etc. Once you get one right, you are going to accidentally rank in all of the other ones. So for example, if you're ranking in Google AI overviews, you're probably going to also rank in either Perplexity or ChatGPT and or Claude as well. So it is an amalgamation of, if you do things right on one LLM, you're going to do things, or you're going to show up in a lot of the other LLMs as well. So 2 things, right? We are going to be using this LLM/GEO/AI SEO checklist. Now, the reason why I've called it that is because I don't know what you guys want to call it. So I'm just going to cover it all. If you want this, the link will be down below. It's completely free to use. It's literally got everything in there. So like, it's got an LLM SEO checklist. It's got a mention scorer, questions, literally everything you need. This is like the Swiss Army knife for LLM SEO rankings. The next thing that we have is mySEO. So if you guys want to learn more about SEO rankings, maybe you're struggling, maybe you want to learn and watch live streams, ask questions, this is a free app that my team have developed. The link again will be down below. Feel free to use it. It's completely free, so you may as well. Okay, so I have developed this sheet that should make a lot of your lives easier. And basically what this does is it scores websites or web mentions across 4 different LLMs. You've got Google AI, you have Perplexity, you have ChatGPT, and you also have Claude as well. It tallies up the mentions, and it also gives you some points here as well. Also, one slight thing, if you want to use this spreadsheet, just click on file and then make a copy. That allows you to make any changes and stuff. All of the prompts are actually in here as well, so you don't need to worry about writing any of the prompts. So let's say you've got a product here, right, and you want to rank higher, or you want to show up for the keyword, what are the best hair straighteners? So you've got the AI overview there, and you've got some brands here. Maybe you've got the new Kasra-482 hair straightener, right? I don't know why I would set up a hair straightener, but I have, right? So you've got these several brands here, and then you've also got for like specific needs and stuff like that. Now, typically what happens, right, is these results get pulled in from these actual sources. So as you can see here, there's probably about 10, 15 different sources here that have mentioned these brands. So if we click on one of these, you should see the GHD hair straightener. So GHD, as you can see, you've got it mentioned here. Let's see if they've got it in like a listicle. So as you can see, GHD original hair styler. They've got the GHD Platinum Plus, and then that's it. So there's 2 GHD products, which obviously then show up in this AI overview. Then if we were to take a look at like Dyson, for example, you've got the Dyson Corella cord free as well, right? So that's going to be the exact same process in a lot of these. And it's going to also be the exact same for all of the different LLMs. So it doesn't matter if you're trying to rank or show up in ChatGPT, Google AI Overviews, or Claude. It's very much the same. So what we're going to do here, right, is we are going to delete all of this because we don't need it. This is for our old site. And what we're going to do is we're going to get all of these mentions. Now, I am using a Chrome extension called Link Clump. This basically allows me to hold down the letter Z on my keyboard and just click and drag all of these different sources, right? And it's just going to let me paste it into the Google Sheet. So as we can see here, we've got all of our sources from Google. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do the exact same thing for Perplexity now, right? So we're going to go into Perplexity. Perplexity.ai. We're going to search the exact same query on Perplexity, and this is going to give us a different set of sources. Now, the brilliant thing I think what LLMs have done is it's allowing SEOs and digital marketers to realize which type of links that we need. It's taking the guesswork out of link building now. So as you can see here, this has done its thing, and as you can see, I don't know if you guys can see, that's a little bit light on the color. It says reviewed 15 sources, right? So if we click on that, as you can see, we have got our 15 sources. So again, I'm just going to hold down on Z, and we're going to copy all of these different sources, and we're just going to paste it into our sheet. So as you can see here, we've got all of our links there. There is obviously some overlap and stuff, but the prompt that we've got at the bottom will obviously fix that for us. Then again, we're just going to go into ChatGPT and do the exact same thing. So we're going to open up our ChatGPT, copy our keyword that we want to rank for, which is what are the best hair straighteners, and this is going to do its thing. It's going to give us the sources, and we are going to copy those sources into our sheet again. So on ChatGPT, the sources is typically down at the bottom. If you click on that, you will see a list of the sources. If you guys do have if your eyes are good, you will see some overlap, like and the independent has been mentioned on a few different LLMs now. But again, all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to copy all of these, and we're going to paste that into ChatGPT or our sheet under the ChatGPT subsection. And again, last but definitely not least, we're going to go over to Claude and do the exact same thing. One thing that you should actually know about Claude is that sometimes you do need to use certain models because it won't actually give you the sources. Now, what I have found is if you use Haiku 4.5, you should typically always get the sources. It's not always, it's maybe not 100% of the time, but it's probably like 90% of the time. So as you can see, it's done its research now, and again we're just going to hold down on Z, and we're going to grab all of these different sources, and again for the last time we are going to paste into here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to copy all of these links. We're going to head over to ChatGPT, we're going to paste that all in, and if you go to the bottom of this sheet, you will see a prompt that will actually create the columns for us. So this is basically going to score it all. It's going to tell us which links are being mentioned where. So as you can see here, we've got it all sorted for us. And it's also removing any duplicates. Now, the reason why this is important is in some cases, right, some really strong websites get mentioned once or maybe twice in the LLMs, but however, there might be a link that you need to acquire for your website so it mentions your brand or your product that's been mentioned across the board. This is basically doing that for us. So again, if we go back to our sheet, we're going to just delete all of this, and we're just going to paste that in there. And as you can see here, right, so we've got expertreviews.co.uk. That's actually being mentioned only once. There we go. So Yeah, so expertreviews.co.uk, that's actually only been mentioned once, and that's only within the Google AI overview. Now, as you can see, glamour.com, right, which is a way less powerful website, it might actually be quite a cheap website to get a link placed on. That's actually being mentioned on Google AI, Perplexity, and also ChatGPT. So this would be a definite website that I would be prioritizing. We've got 15 points over here. Then we've got whatever. And again, this is a very cheaper website like Expert Reviews or which.co.uk. I'm telling you from my experience, it's going to cost a lot of money to get a link on which.co.uk, for example. Whereas this website, it's going to be a way cheaper backlink. So you're actually saving money by looking at your competitors' mentions as well. So again, this one here is mentioned on Google AI, Perplexity, Claude, maryclaire.co.uk. Again, this is kind of like a blogger website, or it's a blogger magazine, should I probably say. Again, this website here, it is being mentioned on Google AI, Perplexity, and also Claude as well. And then we've also got some websites that are just been mentioned once as well. So what I would be looking at here is I would be trying to acquire the websites that have at least got free mentions, because those are, in this kind of scenario, there's very few of those. And then I would also try and get the 10 pointers as well, because that will definitely help you rank across all of the LLMs, not just Google AI or not just ChatGPT. So now that we have a hit list of links that we need to acquire as a business, right? I'm going to give you a very, very quick rundown on outreach. If you guys want me to do a separate video on outreach, let me know, because this probably deserves its own video, but very quickly, right? So you grab this domain name, you go to a tool like hunter.io, you click on Finder. This is also free as well. I think you get maybe 50 credits a month for free. You paste in the website, and then your next task is to find the author of that specific page. You don't want to be sending out emails to everyone at this website, right? So this article here is being published by Grace Lindsay, and we're just going to search for her name here. And as you can see, this is her name, Grace Lindsay. It's grace.lindsay@futurenet.com. We've got her LinkedIn profile. So then we can basically email her saying like, hey, you've done this brilliant article on the best hair straighteners. Can you include my product? Or if you don't want to email her, maybe you just want to message her, you can also connect with that person on LinkedIn as well and reach out to them that way. So the next way to rank in LLMs, and this is really important because this is how LLMs and also a little bit on Google, how it understands your website. And this is basically down to entity SEO. So you want to make certain that your article, the days of having keyword rich articles is very much outdated. Now, Google and also LLMs want to see entities. So here are some different types of entities. You have brand, you have sports, you've got different products, you've got activities, you have emotions, ideas, and you've got food. Also, shout out to Helium SEO. You've then got animals, you've got field of study, you have film, you have events, you have temporal, you have geography or geographical, and then you also have person as well. Now, if you've never ran your content through Google's own NLP testing tool, highly recommend you do this because it actually tells you how often you're speaking about entities. Like, let's say, for example, you are talking about holidays to Paris. If you have that page on your website, Google will want you to talk about the Eiffel Tower because that is an entity within France or within Paris, right? Now, this tool here, I don't know if you guys just saw that, but you can actually use this for free and it can analyze it's small chunks on the free version. So you can add in like paragraphs, but it can actually tell you which entities you have within your content, right? So for example, you've got Google, which is a entity. It's a organization. You've got Mountain View, 1,600 Amphitheatre Parkway. You've got Mountain View. These are all entities, and it also tells you what type of entities there are. So like you've got address, you've got consumer goods. So like that Android is a consumer good. You have got Sundar Pichai, which is the CEO of Google. And then you've obviously got Google, which is like the organization and stuff like that. So this is a really good tool to very quickly analyze certain chunks of your content to make certain that you have actually got entities in there. So as you can see here, right, this is a quick little paragraph that I've just pasted in about Paris. And as you can see, we have got a lot of location-specific entities. So we've got Eiffel Tower, we have French, we have Louvre Museum, we have Paris, we have got bookstalls, bridges, city skylines, landmarks. These are all entities that help build up the entity score or the confidence score of this page to do with holidays in Paris. Now, here is a bad example of a non-entity optimized piece of content, right? Look at how many entities that we've actually got in here. We've got a total of 29. There's not that many greens. There's not that many locations that we're talking about. I don't even think we mention the Eiffel Tower in here. No, we don't, right? But then take a look at this. We've got way more green entities. We've got way more locations. Again, if you are adding specific entities, Google will obviously understand who and what you are talking about. So as a quick little recap, we have spoken about getting mentioned. So that is stuff being done outside of your website. So other websites mentioning your brand, your products. We have mentioned content as well. So making certain that you have got an entity rich piece of content and not having a non-entity rich paragraph. So that is content on your webpage. And last but not least, are actually identifying that if Google, Perplexity, etc., if they actually understand who you are. Now, I like to do this with questions on my website. So we've got brand identity questions, we've got location data questions, we've got certain services, we have target audience, we have credibility, and we have structured data, and last but very not least, brand messaging. Now, I won't go through all of it because there's about 34 different questions. I'm not saying all websites need 34, but this is covering a lot of it. But very quickly, right, so what is the business name? So if, say for example, if we were to take a look at my own conference website, so this is the Masterminders yearly conference that I run every year, you will see that I have got questions down here. Now, this helps LLMs understand who the conference is for, who runs the conference, why I run the conference, why people attend, etc. Right? If you have got a lot of these questions, and it doesn't necessarily need to be on your homepage, it could be on your about page, it could be a frequently asked questions page, any of that is totally fine. But this again feeds more information. Now, I had a call recently with a company. And I won't mention it because the guy he watches my videos and I don't think he wants me to share his brand, but he had a shoe website. And when you search for his shoe website, it said that it was like a local bakery in like a European country. Now, you want to make certain if you're searching like who is Kasra Dash, right? The AI overview actually understands who you are. So, or if we do what is Kasra Dash known for, we've got a featured snippet, right? Let's do who attends the Masterminders SEO conference, right? So this should give us a list of types of people that attend. So agency owners, in-house marketers, technical SEOs, digital entrepreneurs, consultants, vetted attendees, etc. Right? So Google has actually read my data. It's got mentioned all of these different sources where it's gotten that data from, and it is actually created this AI overview. You want to do that specifically around your brand. So let's say, for example, you are a local business. You would want like your the services that you offer being mentioned in AI overviews. You want to make certain that everything around your brand is spoken about in a positive way. Again, the best way that you can do that is by answering these questions somewhere on your website. So very quickly, we've got business name, when was the business founded, who founded the business, what does the business do, what topics is the brand most associated with, what is the official website. You've then got the verified social profiles. So you've got all of my social profiles here. By the way, everything on the right-hand side is an example, right? Then you've got like location data, so like where is the business based, time zones, services, service area focus, what are the core services, what's the flagship service, target audience, who is the primary audience. This is a few things that I actually started to really focus on for the Masterminders, because I wanted the right type of audience coming to my conference. And again, highly recommend you guys doing the exact same thing. You've then also got a little bit of structured data as well that you can do, and then you've also got credibility. So let's say you are a law firm maybe, and you have won a lot of different awards. You want to mention that you have won the best law firm in Houston, for example, etc. Right? Because that will build credibility, and it will also get picked up by AI overviews as well. So that has been my video on how to rank in LLMs. I showed you guys 3 different ways, all of which can be pretty much or close to free as well. If you guys have enjoyed the video, please remember to leave a like and also subscribe. If you haven't already downloaded mySEO, I highly recommend it. If you want to check out the conference, it's in UK, 24th to the 26th of June. Or if you want to work with me, head over to kasra.com, fill in the contact form, and I will be in touch. Thank you for watching.